Hey, so here is my Pegasus deck. So I combined some cards from Duel's Kingdom and the movie, Pyramid of Light, and then the one duel in the Doma series, um, and also GX. So I'll explain a little bit about sort of my rationale for some of these. So I'll just jump right in. In some of the media, like the 2004 movie, there was a novelization that you can find online, just some information on Yugioh Wikia. But I found out that the producers actually made a deck list for the characters, Yugi, Kaiba, and Pegasus. And it was interesting because what was in the deck list, I think I can actually bring it up here, is sort of reminiscent of Pegasus's structure deck from 2001 or 2. And here it is. So this was his deck in the movie. So it's interesting that, see, like right there, Pyramid of Light. Now this was taken directly from the actual book, and somebody obviously just scribbled this in. So he still uses Thousand Eyes Idol and all that stuff. Manju is interesting because Kaiba Man and Yu-Gi-Oh! GX also uses Manju. So to me, that makes a lot of sense. That would align. I have no issues with that. Anyway, so still uses Relinquished later on, and in the Doma series, you see Mai going to Industrial Illusions to duel Pegasus, and he summons Thousand Eyes Restrict. Now, obviously, in the show, he would Polymerization, not Metamorphosis, a scapegoat. But anyway, this reminds me of the Japanese structure deck, you know, with Fissure, Snatch Steal, Bright Castle, Shine Palace. Jar Greed was in the structure deck. Solemn is interesting. Some of these make no sense. Ultimate Offering is in here, if you remember, because when they first came out, they were normal summons, like this one here. And then they eroded it, I think in Dark Beginnings 1, when they made some of these commons, like Toon Mass Sorcerer, Toon Gemini Elf, and the other ones. Anyway, so I have a Parallel Rare Ultra from Magic Ruler. Toon Alligator, which is funny because you can use all the Toon cards with this. It made sense because in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, he summoned Toon Alligator and set, I think he set the Toon Suitcase as well. Thousand Eyes Idol, I just want to play around with that stuff, so it's kind of fun. And it's funny because in GOAT, you can actually play Emissary of the Afterlife and search for this, which is kind of funny. And it's 1 star and dark. Blue Eyes Toon. I just use these because, so the problem with this deck is that Toon Kingdom is extremely broken in the TCG. In the lore, it didn't have the protection abilities. It was basically like the Wabaku, like from Duel's Kingdom. So I have to balance this deck out, because once I get that out in FM Magic Jammer, they're pretty much, any other character deck is pretty much screwed. Especially since I use three of those and 2 of those. I cut down to 1 of those because 3 seems like too much. Anyway, so I do use these, and in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, in one scene, Pegasus shows, I don't know, his interest in the his tunes again, and you see Mangaria pop up in the background of Toon Kingdom, like in one of these little castle spires. So anyway, Toon Dark Magician Girl, this was good when it came out. I mean, you know, but someone I know had a Toon deck, and he played 3 of these. And it's kind of funny, I think I shared the story before, but in a regionals or Shonen Jump, I played my friend who had this deck, and I don't remember what it was, Creature Swap or something like that. Yeah, it was that Creature Swap format, the Recruiter Chaos. And I actually wound up with a Toon Goblin Attack Force in my deck in Game 1 against the top player of the state. Oh, another state, apparently. And I was already, I think, 4th in my state, but I'm lucky he didn't play Confiscation or something to, I forgot what it was. Something to, maybe a deck check I was worried about. I don't remember. Anyway, so it was just a funny story. Luckily I beat him the match, so I didn't have to worry about any of that. 3-tune Gemini Elf, 2 Mass Sorcerers, really good. You know, of course, turn 1 you go Castle and then Mask, and you can summon one of these 2. The actual tune deck a couple of years ago just used these 2 again. And I think costs Comic Hand, just 2 XYZ or something like that. Toon Can Soldier I use because it was made at the time and it seems like something he would use. And even though the 2004 movie is not canon technically, it's still produced, you know, by them, so I think it's fine. It doesn't matter. To me, it's canon. 3 Manjus, just because you want to deck them immediately. What you can do is not worry, because if you have 2 Relinquished and 2 Black Illusion Ritual, this will remove 3 cards from the top of your deck. And so in a huge deck, this is 52 cards. You don't really need to worry too much about, you know, if you know you have multiple copies of something. One can get banished, it's fine, who cares? So it depends how you sort of make this sense. You know, do you want to search first? Do you want to banish and maybe get one of those 3 because another copy will be useless later on? You know, something like that. So 2 Flying Elephants. I should use the 3rd, but the 3rd is in my Pegasus Duel's Kingdom deck, which I'm actually, I was actually working on rules and things like that for that. I have a few Duel's Kingdom decks I can share in time. Witch of the Black Forest. So I don't have 1,000 Sangans. I may have a good number, but not 1,000. This was also in his Pegasus structure deck, and at the time, this was used by Rebecca, so I'm just gonna blur the rules, or blur the, you know, the canon for that. I don't really care. Magician of Faith, King of the Swamp is good with Relinquished, Thousand Eyes Idol. Sinister helps a lot of stuff. You use Sinister with Cannon Soldier if this is protected by Toon Kingdom. You use Sinister with this, that, and that. You also use it with Relinquished. You can also just stall with it too for a turn by setting it. 3 Toon Tables. I decided on 2 Toon Kingdoms because the card is just broken in the TCG. It didn't have the protection abilities in the show. 2 Black Illusion Ritual. And then the general go cards. Mimicat, I wish it was called Doppelganger, but oh well. Toon Rollback, really cool. You can use it with one of these and, you know, double strike. Comic Hand is a snatch deal. It's very good. Shadow Toon, just for the heck of it. And I really like the, I like the nonsense sound effects it makes in the dubbed show. I think it's just in the dubbed, I'm not sure. And that's about it. So let's see, I just have a few more I wanted to pick out. So I really like how they made legacy monsters into tunes, because technically if Pegasus did play or duel against you know, Mai, Joey, or Bandit Keith, one of these would become, you know, one of his monsters would become a tune. It's just, you know, I'm not using them because they're not really true to the original timeline, and these effects are just not accurate to how things were. So I took out 2 Mystic Tomatoes just again because I wanted to be less broken, and regardless if I slap down a Toon Kingdom and a Toon Mass Sorcerer or whatever, it's pretty much, you know, I'm pretty good for a while. So Scapegoat, when they eroded it, people were like, hey, I can use Scapegoat to special summon Toon monsters. So that works. You can still also cost down for some cards, except Blue Eyes Toon Dragon says it requires 2 tributes, I believe, so oh well. I just have this. I ordered this before it jumped. It's actually near mint. I just swapped some of the things around. So Pharaoh Tor, Toon Dark Magician Girl. pretty cool. I have some of those cards. Okay, hope it wasn't too rushed, but if you have any questions or comments or ideas, let me know. I had a speed duel super rare version of Black Illusion Ritual, but I just, I don't really like extra wording and things like that. So if I could, I'd rather replace these with the ultra rare Japanese or the super rare Magic Ruler. All right, thank you, and subscribe, like, comment, and do all that good stuff. And I'll upload more. Thank you, bye.